Hoy es martes el 12 de enero de 2021. Hoy tenemos para empezar, por favor, work on your quiz at 4.1 for 5 to 10 minutos. That is continuing to practice that vocab, getting that in your brain. Watch the telehistoria, por favor, on página 197 of your online textbook. I put the link for you there. That's going to keep working on your listening comprehension. Super important for learning Spanish. You're watching today's lesson, and your homework's going to be página 151, 152 y 153 de tu cuaderno. Okay, so if you're my in-person students, please email me the pictures of the pages, or you can show them to me when you get back to school. Thank you first for your guys' reflections. I have enjoyed reading those. You guys told me that you wanted to go a little bit slower in the class, so I will take that into consideration and try to not test you guys as frequently. And you gave me a few more suggestions that I will ponder through, but just know that I read those and I appreciate the feedback. And thanks for those of you who said you like these videos. That means a lot to me. So anyway, what I want us to do is flip to page 199, 199. And today we're going to learn about stem changing verbs. So all of the verbs that we have learned so far are regular verbs. So here we're going to learn about some irregular verbs. Well, there's actually so many of them that you might not even consider it irregular, but it's just different from our normal conjugation. So let's look at this. The English grammar connection is that there are no stem changing verbs in the present tense of English. So really there is no connection. Okay, so let's learn about this. In Spanish, some verbs have a stem change in the present tense. How do you form the present tense of E to IE stem changing verbs? Now, they specify which stem changing verbs there are because there are multiple. Like O to UE, we'll learn about that later, okay? Here we're just learning E to IE. Here's how. Stem changing verbs have regular AR, ER, and IR present tense endings. So the endings are the same. See, O, ACE, A, amos, ace, ain. However, for the I to IE stem changing verbs, the E of the stem, so the part that you would typically keep the same, changes to an IE in all forms except the nosotros and vosotros forms. So if we're taking the verb querer, usually we would just change it to quiero, quieres, quiere, queremos, quieres, quieren, right? However, since it's a stem changer, we're going to add an I there. So change the E to an I. Quiero, quieres, quiere. This is just going to stay the same as how you normally conjugate it. Queremos, quieres, and now quieren. So some people like to think of this as a boot conjugation. You see how there's kind of a boot here? So everything within the boot, you're going to change the stem. E to the IE. Anything outside of the boot, which is the nosotros and vosotros forms, sorry, not that one. These two in the yellow, you are going to leave as it is. Some other E to IE stem changing verbs you have learned are cerrar, that means to close. Empezar, to begin, right? We do that every day, para empezar. Entender, to understand. Pensar, to think. And preferir, prefer. We might not have learned a couple of these yet. In stem changing verbs, it is the next to last syllable that changes. So second to last. So you see here, cerrar. There's two, so this is the second to last. Empezar. This would be your second to last syllable. Entender, second to last. Pensar, second to last. And preferir, second to last. So, for example, Paula prefiere el vestido azul. Paula prefers the blue dress. And my classroom thinks that I left it out to dry. Notice that when one verb follows another, the first verb is conjugated and the second is in its infinitive form. We've talked about this before, right? The two-verb rule. So if I say quieres, and I'm asking you, do you want to watch? The second verb I'm always going to leave as an infinitive. ¿Quieres mirar la televisión o leer un libro? We learned that with gusta, right? Me gusta mirar la televisión. Me gusta caminar. Gusta is your first verb that you conjugate. The next verb's always going to be an infinitive. That implies whenever you use two verbs in Spanish. So, hopefully this doesn't seem too confusing, but if it does, don't worry, we're going to practice. So what I want you to do is pull out a piece of paper, or you can kind of make my screen small and pull out a spare Google Doc, which is what I'm going to do. And we're going to work on some conjugation charts to get this down. So if you go to Insert, Table, and 2x3, it should give you a nice conjugation chart. So we're going to copy and paste that 4 times. 4 should be good. And let's start with the verb cerrar, which means to close. So remember, in our conjugation charts we have yo, nosotros, or nosotras, to with an accent, to, vosotros or vosotras, él, ella, usted, and ellos, ellas, and ustedes. I'll just add all of them for us. Ellas, ustedes. Okay, so yo, remember, if we were to conjugate this normally, we would just say this, right? Take off the AR and add an O. However, since it's an E to IE stem changer, we're going to make that IERRO. Yo cierro. Tú cierras. Él, ella, and usted cierra. Nosotros. Now notice that this is not in the boot. So these and these two right here make up the boot. So nosotros, we're just going to leave the same. CERRAMOS. Cerramos. I'm missing an O in there, aren't I? Nosotros. Vosotros. Cierres. And now we're back in the boot, so I'm going to add an IE. Cierran. O, as, a, amos, ais, an stays the same because it's an AR verb. The only thing we're changing is the stem, which means the part before the last 2 letters. So let's work on another one. What about empezar? So remember, we are changing the second to last syllable. So go ahead and try to fill this one out on your own. Pause the video, see if you could do it, and then unpause and I'll tell you if you're right. So this would be yo empiezo, right? E to IE. Tú empiezas. Él, ella, usted empieza. Now we're out of the boot, so I'm not going to change the stem. Empezamos. Nosotros empezamos. Vosotros empecéis. And ellos, ellas, ustedes, back in the boot, empiezan. Now something that might be helpful for us is try to write a sentence using one of these conjugations, okay? So for example, for this one I could say, tú cierras la puerta, right? You close the door. Or what else have we learned to say? What else can we close that we've learned to say? What about this one? Ellos cierran sus mochilas. They close their backpacks. Okay, so for this one, I could say, yo empiezo a hacer la tarea. I empiezo. Did I say that wrong? Oh, empiezo a hacer. Yeah, we haven't learned this grammar structure yet, so maybe that's not a good sentence for us. Yo empiezo. That's okay. We'll just use it. Yo empiezo a hacer la tarea. A lot of times when we use empezar, we're going to say, I begin to do something. So you have the A here. Don't stress about that too much. What about él empieza a caminar a la escuela? Right? He begins to walk to school. All right, let's do 2 more. Pensar. How am I going to conjugate this, chicos? Go ahead and fill it out, pause the video as you're doing that, and then come and check your answers. So this would be yo pienso, tú piensas, él, ella, usted piensa, nosotros pensamos, out of the boot, so we're not changing the E to an IE. Vosotros is out of the boot. Vosotros penséis. And finally, back in the boot, ellos, ellas, ustedes piensan. So, how about ellos piensan que, this is saying they think that la maestra es simpática. They think that the teacher is nice. Yo pienso que necesito. What do I need to do? Yo pienso que necesito escribir en español más. I think that I need to write in Spanish more. Now notice here how I used a verb, but now I'm starting a new phrase. I think that I need to write. So here's the 2-verb rule. I need to write. This does not apply to the 2-verb rule because it's a different phrase. Now whenever we have a use of tener here, like tengo que, we're always going to have an infinitive afterwards. One thing you can think of as a rule of thumb is translate it to English, right? Are you saying I need, or I write, he writes, she writes, he needs, or are you just saying to and then the verb? If you're saying to and then the verb, that's going to be infinitive, right? To write. Last one, chicos, that we'll do, and then I'll get you on your way to your homework, is preferir. So this means to prefer. So this, all we've done so far is AR verbs with our AR endings. Remember that ER and IR verbs are different than your AR endings. So keep that in mind. Those stay the same as what we've already learned. The only thing we're changing is the stem. So again, pause the video, try to fill this out, and then unpause and we'll see if you're right. Alright, yo prefiero, E to the IE, remember this is the second to last syllable. Tú prefieres, the ES ending because it's an IR verb. We'll use ella this time. Ella prefiere. Nosotros prefiremos. Actually, it's an I ending verb, so it would be preferimos. Remember, the IR and ER endings have all the endings the same except for the nosotros and the vosotros. Vosotros prefierís. And again, here, since it's out of the boot, we're not changing the E to an IE. We're just keeping it as an E, keeping the stem the same. And finally, ellos, ellas, and ustedes, we'll use ustedes this time, prefieren. Back into the boot, so we are going to change the E to an IE. I could say, yo prefiero comer una pizza. I prefer to eat a pizza. Again, remember this is a 2-verb rule, so the second verb that we have is going to be unconjugated and kept as an infinitive. So chicos, go ahead and work on your homework, the 151 to 153. If you guys have questions or need extra help, please reach out to me. Okay, I know that sometimes conjugation charts can be confusing. I would love to help you during my prep time. So please don't hesitate to ask for help. And that's all for today. Adios, chicos, y hasta mañana.